Okay. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Velhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Salatu vesselamu ala Resulina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecmain. Today, inshallah, we will be reading the last topic in 26th letter about brotherhood, the sixth topic, and we will, inshallah, hopefully discuss it briefly, and we will move on to the topic that is about backbiting, which is also quite related to brotherhood. And today, my name is Mustafa Polat. I will be your moderator today from Turkey. And Hikmet Hocam is from Arizona, I guess, from US. Dr. Hikmet Budak. And Dr. Colin Turner is from Durham, United Kingdom. Inshallah, we will discuss this topic together with all the brothers. And anybody who is listening may want to join and raise their hand, and we can they can share their thoughts. If they have questions, they can either ask it or they can write it down to the chat box, and we can inshallah read it and try to discuss it as much as possible. And there is this highlights to give an introduction to the topic. Ustad Said Nursi mentions about partisanship. There is partisanship, obstinacy, and covetousness that cause discord, division, rancor, and enmity among believers are ugly, rejected, harmful, oppressive, and poisonous. So partisanship, obstinacy, and covetousness has a lot of damages to personal life and to society. So we will be discussing the aspects in terms of reality, in terms of wisdom, in terms of wisdom of Islam, its effects on spiritual life, in social life, and personal life. Another highlight here, obstinacy and partisanship are utterly harmful to social life. Positive differing is everybody works to fix and promote their own way, not to destroy and abrogate that of others. Rather, they try to perfect and amend the way of others. It's not to destroy. The aim is not to destroy and abrogate that of others. Rather, they try to perfect and amend the way of others. If the exalted precepts of love for the sake of Allah, dislike for the sake of Allah, and judgment belongs to Allah are not the guiding principles for action, discord and division take over. So here is the sixth aspect from the 22nd letter. Let's read it. I'll read it. The sixth aspect, and this is quite short. It's like one paragraph. And if you'd like to, we can maybe share a couple sentences and points, and then we can move on to backbiting. Sixth aspect, enmity and obstinacy upset spiritual life and the health of worshipfulness. For sincerity, which is the path to deliverance and means of salvation, would be lost. This is because an obstinate partisan wants to surpass his adversary in his good deeds and cannot attain much success in performing deeds sincerely, because sincerity will be lost, and thus seeking God's countenance. Moreover, he favors his fellow partisans in his judgments and transactions and cannot do justice. Thus, sincerity and justice, which are the foundations of good deeds and actions, would be lost. This sixth aspect is very long, but we will cut it short since this is not the station to expand on it. But since we have read it, if any Hikmet Hocam or Colin Hocam, if he attended, would like to share a couple points, maybe we can discuss it briefly. Hikmet Hocam, would you like to share your thoughts?
Sure, inshallah. I'll try. This is last week we were discussing, and if enmity and obstinacy really harmful for spiritual life as well, because that is going to affect the sincerity, which is one of the main thing that to reach out the goal of our life here and hereafter as well, which is just seek for the sake of Allah and then acceptance of Allah. And when we have this enmity and obstinacy, instead of seeking or being sincere, that we will try to have some kind of acceptance from the human or from around us, that the people around us, and that is going to completely affect that the sincerity and in whatever we do. That is just this is all I can add right now, and it is which is one of the most important part as well. That sincerity while you're doing that, this or maintaining your spiritual life and worship, and to just to have the acceptance of Allah or whatever you do, that they all we are doing that, seeking for the sake of Allah and acceptance of Allah. If there is other things, is just going in, that is just affecting the sincerity. Last week when we were giving example, for instance, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh didn't kill the enemy because he thought that his nefes and his ana just enter or intervene that the goal, his goal, which is that the acceptance of Allah, which is the sincerity, is. So this is all I can say right now, and I don't need to say more. Inshallah,
Thank
I
you.
will say more.
Yeah, that's right, Hikmet Hocam. Colin Hocam, would you like to chime in?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
This is a kind of continuation of last week's discussion. I don't really have that much to add to what Hikmet has already said, except to say that in the 29th letter, which I'm actually working on at the moment, Ustad talks about certain weak spots that we have as human beings, such as fear, such as laziness, and most importantly, self-centeredness. And he talks about, the demons and the demons among jinn and men, the Satans among jinn and men who take advantage of this. And this is particularly dangerous when it gets to the spiritual life, because there's nothing to compete with there. In a, we're not competing for limited worldly goods, like the people of misguidance and like the Ahl Dunya, the people of the world, who genuinely come together in solidarity and sincerity in order to get what they need, because they know they can't do it on their own. So it's particularly unfortunate when we, as believers, show this kind of envy as well. Envy is another one, and it comes from self-centeredness. And we want to be the best worshippers. We want to get the best rewards, and we don't realize, that if someone is doing good, we need to actually take pleasure in that person, in that person's doing good, and we need to be proud of them, because they are doing something for immaterial rewards, for spiritual rewards, which are endless. Now, if I see a Hoja or a Sheikh who has, thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, and if he's a good man, and I have maybe 2 or 3 followers, if I start to envy him, his followers, then that turns a spiritual ambition into a worldly ambition. And it's very dangerous for spiritual life, because anyone who goes against that person, he may be a wonderful teacher. Anyone who says a word against him, I'm going to support that person. Anyone who backs me, I'm going to support them. However unwholesome they may be, um, I'm going to support the one who supports me. And this kind of misuse of these weak spots, we are tempted into them because, especially when it comes to knowledge and learning and scholarship, scholars, even if they're very humble, Ustad says, even if they're very humble in their day-to-day lives, when they think about their scholarship, their learning, their knowledge, and their writing, for example, they can become very self-centered because this is a weak spot, maybe the most dangerous of them. And we see this all the time, We see this out there on the internet among the Google sheikhs. There's all these attacks and challenges, and he's got more followers. No, I've got more followers, or he said this, or he said that, and I refute this, or I refute that. It's just like chaos and mayhem there. Instead of appreciating each other's good deeds, we want to surpass them. Now, there is a kind of positive competition whereby if I see you doing some good, I also want to be like you and do good. But to be envious, if when you do something really, really good for society and you get public acclaim for it, I should not think, well, I didn't get any public acclaim. No one thanked me, but they thanked him. Now, this is a crazy thing because, he's only doing what I could have also done if I'd been in his position. So he's doing actually what needs to be done, and I should be proud of that, proud of his actions, and I should take pleasure from them because he's telling the truth. He's distributing, these drops of the water of life, which are like, for example, in the Risale. Someone who has a huge following, someone who is an RB, someone who, has a platform and is doing good, I should uh, be pleased for that person, take pleasure from what he does, and also be proud because we are a collective personality. We're not just isolated individuals out for our own benefit. Anyway, I've said enough. Thanks.
Thank you, Colin Hocam. Yeah, you have went in depth about a lot of issues that the Muslim community are dealing with in today's society. And these are really important questions to be answered and discussed in maybe even further among our community and other Muslim communities. Even though even ourselves we read or we are told to read sincerity in brotherhood as much as possible, at least every 15 days, and we try to do it. I guess we are neglecting it many times, but we are making. In my personal life, I myself find myself making mistakes about that. I mean, uh, uh, this is a personal travel that I'm having, a personal debate in myself. That I helped somebody, a brother of mine, and I supported him in a way that I saw him developing himself, and then at some point he turned his back to me, or I thought that way, and then I felt very bad about it, like maybe I shouldn't have done that much good deeds, and then I thought like this is not sincerity, there is something going on here. So the ego comes in to play, like as if I was investing him so he would be supportive of me. I shouldn't be maybe expecting that. But we, I guess, make mistakes, or we lose our right intention on the way. I guess we can relate. We are very much focused on relationships and partisanship in different levels in society, in personal level, in more larger levels, and we make fall into these pitfalls and make mistakes. That's why Ustad uh, reminds us and urges us to constantly read these particular passages.
I think it's also encouraged in society. Partisanship is everywhere, it's in social life, it's in political life, definitely, and they encourage it. And the first real biased partisan was Iblis, so it has a long history.
Yeah,
I'm made from fire, so I'm better than he is. So there we have jealousy, actually it's inverted envy. We have pride. We have all of these weak spots. We in a sense mirror him. So it's not surprising, and this is encouraged in our society. Encourages biased partisanship. The whole secular political system is built on, the taking advantage and the exploitation of human weakness.
Yeah, us versus others. You have to belong to a particular sect, or community, or a party, and the others are wrong and doomed to hell or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a quite big problem in society, in every level, in also both in religious uh, circles and in other secular circles as well. So may Allah protect us and take heed of these lessons as much as possible. So let's move on to which is the backbiting, the chapter on backbiting. This is also related to what we have been discussing. Bismi subhanahu, in his name, glory be to him. Wa in min shay'in illa yusabbihu bihamdihi, and there is not a single thing that does not glorify his praise. Since the discouragement of backbiting in one verse among the examples of this station of censure and deterrence among the Quran stations of eloquence, as mentioned in the fifth point of the first ray of the first flame of the 25th word, completely demonstrates how hideous an act backbiting is in the Quran's view. It has left no need for further elucidation. Yes, there can be no elucidation beyond that of the Quran, and there is no need for it. So the verse, أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his brothers who is dead? Censures calumny in 6 degrees and deters backbiting in 6 levels. When this verse addresses those actively engaged in backbiting, its meaning would be as follows. As it is known, the Hamza alif at the beginning of the verse is interrogative in the sense of wonder if. That interrogative meaning permeates all words of the verse like water. It has a hidden ruling present in each word. So the first, it says with the Hamza, wonder if you have no intellect, which is the locus of question and answer, that it fails to grasp such an ugly thing. So Quran itself describes and equates backbiting to eating the flesh of a brother. And Ustad gives an explanation, a tafsir of this verse, and the first aspect of it is wonder if you have no intellect, which is the locus of question and answer, that it fails to grasp such an ugly thing, which is eating the brother's flesh. Second, with yuhibbu, like, it says, wonder if your heart, which is the locus of love and hate, has corrupted, that it likes a most hateful act. Third, with ahadukum, one of you, it says, what befell your sense of social life and civilization, which receive their lives from the community, that it accepts such a deed, that poisons your lives. So should we, I guess, maybe we should stop here and try to discuss the first, third aspects. Colin Hocam, would you like to join and share your thoughts?
Yeah, on backbiting.
Yeah.
Backbiting is hugely fashionable, and I think has always been fashionable. It's been part of society again since the very beginning of creation, one can say. And what it is when we backbite against someone, when we talk behind their back, why are we talking behind their back and not to their face? Because we're saying something that we know they won't like or which isn't true. unless there are certain things that we can say about people which are good. And again, overpraising maybe in their absence is not a good thing. But when we're talking about them generally behind their back, we're saying something negative, or we're passing on a rumor, or we're saying, "Oh, how terrible this person is because he treated me in this way and that way." And what we're doing actually, it's a kind of consumption. We are consuming that person's dignity. The fact that we don't have the bravery to say it to that person's face. We're showing our own animal nature, really. Animals like dragging off a carcass to eat on their own in private. We're doing the same. We're consuming. It's a bit of rumor. It's a bit of news, and it's no this juicy thing I found out about this brother. Oh, this brother does this and that when no one's looking. It's like a juicy piece of actual piece of meat that you would eat. They say, these morsels of gossip. A morsel is a small piece of food. So it's as though we are actually, it's not as though we are actually consuming that person, because we are eating up their dignity, we're eating up their respect, we're eating up maybe their social self-esteem. And this is
Yeah,
why I think in the Quran it says, would you like to actually eat your brother's flesh? No one would like to eat flesh, right? Unless it's
yeah,
some crazed cannibal type, psychopath. But generally, we are all completely disgusted by the idea of eating flesh, and yet we eat their metaphorical flesh by consuming them as items of gossip, to be eaten and traded, and relished and enjoyed and then spat out. And that's what backbiting does.
yeah. And Ustad gives a tafsir of it and saying that this ayah is addressing both our intellect, our heart, in terms of life, and our community in these first three aspects of it. Hikmet Hocam, would you like to add onto this?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, that this is really clearly listed. Excellent points. So if we can get rid of this backbiting from our mind, intellect, which is the main part or the locus of the questions and answers, and then also heart, which is the love and hate, and then the social life. Actually, that it'll continue fourth and fifth and so sixth as well. But this is basically that if we just we described everything, but if we can get rid of this backbiting from our mind, from our heart, which are the main focus of our love, health, and other things, and then the social life, things are going to be much more clearer. Actually, that the backbiting is in this ayah, and then also starts tafsirs the ayah, clearly just say how serious issues in our mind, and also serious issue in our heart, and serious issue or problem that needs to be clearly addressed in our social life. So that basically also telling us that the mind is used for different things and should be used for different things instead of backbiting, and heart has to be used or routed to different things instead of just hating. That is just one of the things. And then the social life is going to be clearly just more clean, and also that just serve that the community and then everybody instead of backbiting. This is when we just I was just thinking about it a little bit, and then when we clean up those mind, heart, and the social life, that the most of the problems or issues is going to be mostly solved or resolved, and we can move on. Actually, that showing somebody or brother, or putting him in a different position and making him look bad in front of us and also in front of others. I think Zeman Zajir that clearly explains these two word or meaning is just showing that what is the level of your mind, heart, and what is the level of your social life or around you, or what you are trying to make your social life, or how you are trying to make social life. And Hamza is clearly just showing wonder if no one or regular person, I would say, maybe that's not a meaning, exact meaning. Regular person is really hard to do that type of thing. What if, okay, wonder if, I don't know that in Turkish, nasıl oluyor yani, nasıl ki? It is impossible, or it is really difficult to do that type of thing for your heart, mind, and social life. That's what I understood from this three just explanation.
Yeah, yeah. So a person that has a sound heart and sound intellect, or maybe just ordinary a person, as you said, shouldn't be doing this. They should be aware of this is such a shameful and disgusting act to do. And Quran, Allah addresses this here, as you just mentioned. Thank you. So let's move on to the fourth.
Can I ask a
Fourth,
question? Sorry,
yeah,
can I ask a
please.
question before we carry on? Someone told me many, many years ago that never say about someone behind their back something that you wouldn't be prepared to say to their face.
Mhm.
Now, to a certain extent, I get this, but I mean, is this a principle that we can take on board? I'm
Mm,
thinking in terms of like when you need to warn someone about someone because you've
mhm,
seen something which may be dangerous for the community. My
mhm,
instinct is to tell the person involved, if it's possible,
mhm,
and only when I've told that person do I tell it to anyone else, because then I don't think it's backbiting. I think I've already told the person knows I've said it to his face. So I'm not saying it behind his back. Sort of conceptually, maybe physically I am, but if I've already told him and questioned him on it, is it allowed for us then to warn others if we think that there's something that needs to be warned about?
That's a quite important and interesting question. Yeah, I haven't thought of it as much. Hikmet Hocam, would you like to
Assalamualaikum,
say?
brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
brothers, backbiting,
Ali abi, please.
backbiting is valid
Oh, Nebi abi,
in,
yes.
in 4 or 5 different situations. I think at the end we will discuss this.
Okay. Okay, you can discuss it later.
That's what I was going to say. At the end, it says clearly what are the time that we can discuss or tell them or warn brothers or around us that in social life or around your family as well. There is a way that, or
Okay.
it is possible. Yes, we will discuss later on.
It shows you
Okay.
how infrequently I read this
Yeah,
this risala.
maybe myself. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the fourth. Fourth, with the phrase يأكل لحمة, to eat the flesh, it says, what befell your humanity that you are tearing apart your friend with your teeth like a predator? To eat the flesh, it says, what befell your humanity. So in this particular paragraph, it addresses our humanity. What befell your humanity that you are tearing apart your friend with your teeth like a predator. Fifth, with the word أخيه, his brother, it says, do you have no fellow feeling, رقة جنسية, or connection of the womb, صلة rahim, that you are sinking your teeth ruthlessly in the metaphysical body of an oppressed person who is your brother in so many respects? And do you have no intellect that you are biting your own limb with your own teeth like a lunatic? So these are quite harsh words. Sixth, with the word Maitan, who is dead, it says, where is your conscience? So it addresses our wijdan, right? Has your innate nature, futra, become so corrupt that you are committing such a reprehensible act? as eating his flesh against your brother who is in a state deserving utmost respect. So let's also talk a little bit about this. Hikmet Hocam, would you like to discuss these particular points?
Sure, I just can add some couple sentences and um, leave the floor for Colin Abi or other brothers. So it continues, and then fourth and fifth, and then now we were talking about the intellect, mind, heart, and social life. Now we are narrowing down that the footrats, that what is happening to humanity and the footrat, and then also Sulai Rahim. That's what we were going in, and our nature and characteristics as well, that we need every single person around us, and then also a small circle, that when we were talking about the family, we need each other as well. When we start backbiting, that is going to be damaged as well. Think about it, and in small community in humanity, that everybody is talking behind their back. And Quran is clearly telling us that eating the flesh of your brother or around your neighbor or anybody that in your family, could be in your family as well, that is eating flesh. That, think about it, if you can do it. And this is a lunatic thing. I mean, it's just a harsh word that we study. Clearly shows that how bad, harmful, dangerous thing that the backbiting is in that humanity, and also that thinking in your vijdan, concisely thinking about that where we are going down. So think about that. You are biting your finger, for instance. Can you do that? This is exactly what is happening when you say that in your relatives or just the neighbors or family or around you, that the brothers, this is just a lunatic thing. That's what I was thinking, that they bite your finger, it is going to hurt you, number one. That's the most important. That's why we were saying that the Colin Abi was always saying 2 3 months ago or 5 months ago, in human is zalum and jahul. It's just that this is clearly telling me that it's just when you do this backbiting, clearly that you are zalum and jahul, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're hurting yourself in the beginning, and you are zalim and really hurting yourself by biting your finger. And this is all I can say right now. That's what all I need to say right now. Maybe
Thank
this
you.
is it. I think.
Yeah, thank you, Hikmet Hocam. Yeah, Colin Hocam, would you like to say something?
Just something very quick, and that is, it's not just that we're consuming the flesh of a dead brother. We are actually committing a kind of, or we can commit a kind of metaphorical murder, because you can kill someone's reputation, right? You can kill someone standing in the community with badly chosen words and with gossip. So backbiting is a kind of murder, really. It's very easy to ruin someone's reputation by saying things about them, which then someone else will pick up and spread. And soon, it goes through society like wildfire. And before you know it, that person has become an outcast. He's become scandalized, and metaphorically, you murder his social standing and his reputation. So it's not just eating the flesh; it's actually, uh, killing it in the first place.
Yeah. And especially in these days with the social media and internet and everything is spreading so quickly, it has become so widespread that we came to a point that we don't even recognize that how hideous and shameful act this is, and disrespectful act this is. It's all news, and this is all people like to hear. Nobody likes to hear something, a good deed happened. People like to consume bad news happening around them. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but this has happened, quite a sickness of the society in general or at large, I guess. Nebi abi, would you like to also add something? No, okay.
Selamünaleyküm again.
Aleykümselam Veli abi.
Yeah, backbiting. I think it was clearly defined. I think after a few paragraphs. Yeah, if we say something is correct, relate to the believer, even though it's correct, but if I mentioned this to the others, then he will be he will not be happy. He will be how is it called? He will not like it. You know, he doesn't want to hear it. If he is ready, maybe just at the other side of the curtain veil, if I am mentioning about him, if he hears me, then he will not like my statement. Then this is the backbiting, actually. If it is correct, this is backbiting. If it is not correct, then it is a double sin. Therefore, I think backbiting is so dangerous to kill the harmony of the society. Then the harmony will be corrupted, or harmony will be damaged by backbiting. Therefore, we have to be very careful about this sin. There's a saying: if anybody is backbiting, the shaitan is putting honey to his mouth. Then he feels that it's sweet. Then he has done this by getting maybe pleasure, but shaitanic pleasure. This is. But it is damaging the harmony in the society. Therefore, we have to be careful. Thank you.
Thank you, Veli abi. Okay, let's move on. In that case, per the expressions of this verse and the indication of each of its words separately, calumny and backbiting are censored according to the intellect, the heart, humanity, conscience, the innate nature, and communal consciousness. Backbiting is a vile weapon, most frequently employed by the people harboring enmity, covetousness, and obstinacy. Any self-dignified person would not stoop down to employing this filthy weapon. As a famous person has said, I am above punishing my enemy with backbiting. I do not stoop down to it. For backbiting is a weapon of the weak, the abased, and the lowly. Backbiting is that if the person who is being backbitten were present and heard it, he would dislike it and be offended. If what is said is true, it is already backbiting. If it is a lie, it is both backbiting and slander, and it's a doubly ugly sin. So this is also another a passage that Ustad describes, Nursi, how backbiting is harmful, and it's the instrument that lowly people only would use. Any self-dignified person wouldn't be reaching out and using this kind of hideous action or instrument. Yeah, so Colin Hocam, would you like to add on this?
I don't really have anything to add. I think it's straightforward as far as I can see.
Yeah. So I just I remember I heard from maybe I read it in Risale-i Nur, or I heard it from some of the abis. One of the abis have come to Ustad and said, if I am not mistaken, if it was the Mufti of Eğirdir, and they said the Mufti of Eğirdir said such and such bad things about you, and he started explaining what it was, and Ustad shut him off and said, he's a dignified person, and he wouldn't say something like that. I wouldn't believe in that. And he stopped the person that was saying those things, and he wouldn't like to hear, and he opposed the idea that that person would say such and such bad things about Ustad Nursi. And maybe it was factual, but uh, spreading such bad words is not a good idea. I guess it's a good action Islamically that Ustad cut it off, and one didn't want to hear it. It just came to my mind. So yeah, Hikmet Hocam, would you like to add on this particular part? Conclusion, I guess.
There's not much, but I just wanted to say, maybe that is saying that my brother wouldn't do that type of thing. For instance, Colin Abe wouldn't say that to me about me. Is something. There are two things hidden in that sentence. Is something that I don't believe that Colin Abe is going to say this, but also Colin Abe shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two sentences or meaning to me that is hidden there. So this is clearly telling that the backbiting shouldn't. I mean, my brother is alhamdulillah good, but also telling others as well, hey, don't do that type of thing as well. This is just a warning as well. So I wanted to mention this, and hearing this also, see that we've been discussing 5-6 parts is going to hurt your intellect, mind, heart, humanity, everything, because we are human and our characteristics is completely different. If you come to me saying that, hey, brother Colin said that, and even if I say that the brother Colin Abi is not going to say this, wouldn't say that, but I will think about it. You know that we have Vesvese Shaitan, right? And then Vahim as well. That Vahim is more worse than Vesvese. That is coming from mind. And so then I will think about it. Yeah, okay, now I know I love Colin Abi. But do you think that he said that, or Shaitan is going to just tell me lots of things and my heart is going to be hurt? Then next time when I see Kolinabi, and I will look at it a little bit strangely. So this is clearly telling that, right? Even if I say no, so he wouldn't say this. That's why Ustad is just stopping everybody that saying this type of thing. And then there are two items that I wanted to mention as well. So because it's gonna hurt our heart and mind and humanity and social life, everything. Innate nature is one of the most important part, really, compared to that physically biting our finger is easier than innate nature that we have lots of things. Vahim is one of them. Vesvese says as well. Anyways, the rest is clear that I don't need to say. And then instead of this is really good. Instead of harming my enemy by biting, because you are taking his sin or her sin as well. I am more above that, or my soul or my heart is more about, I'm not that low, and to give some kind of harm to other people by backbiting. And this is one of the important part as well that I always say, this is not some people can use this as a weapon and to just damage or give a harm to other or enemies. I think it's just a weak weapon and really evil weapon as well. This is not the weapon that we can use or we should use. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I just remembered sometimes in society among close friends we say things like just to joke around. We say, "Oh, I was backbiting you with this brother." It's like a joke. Like you think he wouldn't be offended. Maybe you were saying something good or something bad, and you make jokes of it, jokes around it. Sometimes it happens around close friends. Once I read this, even just joking about it is I guess very risky business. So we have to be really careful about what you're talking about. Yeah. So this is an instrument for the weak. Anybody who thinks of themselves as dignified shouldn't be using these kind of instruments or shouldn't go into these shameful acts. So we have to be refrained from all of this, inshallah. And so if it is, as Nebi Abi also stated, Ustad also mentions this, let's emphasize that. If it is true, that's already backbiting. If it is not true, if you don't even not sure about the source, what has been said to you, and you're relating it to somebody else, referring it, and then it might be slander, which is much uglier even sin than backbiting. So we have to be really careful about saying something bad about other brothers.
Can
So
I ask
let's
another question? Sorry, can I
yeah,
ask
please,
another question?
yeah.
What about if you say something good about a brother in his absence? That I think sometimes can also be, in a sense, a kind of backbiting, which is unintentional. For example, if I know that my brother X gives a lot of zakat, I happen to know that he gives zakat in private. If I start telling people that, it sounds on the surface as though I'm saying something good about the brother, but maybe the brother doesn't want anyone to know about him giving zakat. So I think there's a bit of a gray area as well. Even
Yeah.
if you say something good about someone, they may not want you to talk about their good points. I mean, it's a bit of a kind of strange example, but I think it shows that it's a bit of a gray area there. I don't know what
Yeah.
people
But
think.
Colin abi, zekat is farz, then obligatory duty, responsibility. Then obligatory duties must be exposed to the others.
Yeah, sorry, I
Then
meant sadaqat. I meant sadaqat. Sorry, my mistake.
yeah, if sadaqah, then it could be hidden. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, no, you're right, absolutely. With the zakat, no, I mean sort of like private, secret donations and sadaqat and secret help and all of these things. If you found
But
out about
I
it,
think, brother Colin abi, you know that brother, if he's really upset, if he hears that you told about him, he has given sadaqah, then
mm,
if he's really if he really dislike this, then it could also be accepted according to that description, that statement. It can also be accepted.
mm,
Yeah, since you know him, if he really dislike
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So backbiting can be permissible in a few specific cases. First, one presents a complaint to an official so that the official helps to remove that abomination and fault from the person in question and restores the complaint's right to him. So this is kind of a legal issue here at hand. So a complaint should be heard by the official. So this is an authority that needs to hear the complaint, I guess. And another, someone wants to do business with a person. That person consults you, and you say only to uphold common benefit and fulfill what consultation calls for without any malice. Do not do business with him, for that would harm you. So this is also a very specific case. There is a business at hand, and it's for it's aimed for the consultation, for for a good benefit, for good intention. So here also, I guess the intention is important. You're not about trying to harm anybody. You don't want to harm. You don't want anybody to be harmed from this business dealing. For the sake of Allah, you warn a brother. Another, if one says without intending insult or defamation, but merely to describe and indicate that lame and vagrant person went to such and such place, just to describe and indicate. So, but even then, I guess we should be careful if, the words we choose, the wording should be, I guess, at least kind just for the sake of description. So this is another case. And another, that person who is being bad-bitten is a defiant sinner. Fasık. Fasık-ı mütecahir, I guess it was the original text. Who sins openly. That is to say, doing evil does not trouble him, and rather he boasts about his evil deeds and delights in his oppression. He does what he does openly without shame. Neuzubillah. May Allah protect us from that kind of behavior. So in these specific cases, backbiting without malice and solely for the sake of truth and common benefit may be permissible. Otherwise, as fire devours and finishes wood, backbiting devours and finishes good deeds. As fire devours and finishes wood, backbiting devours and finishes good deeds. If one has engaged in backbiting or listens to it willingly, then he should say, "O Allah, forgive us and whom we have been backbitten." And then whenever he meets that person, he should say, "Forgive me." Okay, let's discuss these specific cases, if you will. Would you like to, Colin Hocam, add on this?
I don't really think I've got anything to add to it. I think it's he's talking about public good here. He's talking about what's to the public benefit. When you complain about someone, you have to mention their name, otherwise the complaint is meaningless. If someone's cheated you in business and you know that they cheat in business, then you warn other people. This is not backbiting. This is for the good of the person that you're warning. I didn't get the third one really, where he says, if without intending insult or defamation, but merely to describe and indicate. I didn't understand that because I'm not sure of the original, the language that's been used here. The lame and vagrant person went to such and such a place.
Yeah. But the second one was, I think, the thing you mentioned while we were discussing the previous paragraphs. If anybody wants to make a business with him, then you
Yeah.
are telling that guy, don't do this. You'll be maybe cheated or
Yeah.
you'll lose. I think this is clear, huh? That one is clear.
That's clear. It's the next one
Okay.
for me.
The
That's
third
not
one
clear.
is, for example, I am the bald gentleman. I am bald. But if anybody tell me that you are bald, you do not have any hair on your head, maybe I do not. I dislike it. Normally. But you are trying to talk about me to somebody. You
Just
are
to
trying
describe,
to.
yeah.
You want to say,
okay.
yeah, maybe, but he doesn't remember me, Then you tell him that the bald guy, he was
I
a little bit tall,
see.
the bald
Okay.
guy. Then
Okay.
he recalled this. Okay, I got it. Then
That's it.
only for the description, Maybe
Okay,
someone
thanks.
is a little bit stupid, for example, a little bit stupid, but you are trying to mention about him, but he didn't get which guy you are mentioning about. Then you say that a little bit stupid guy, you know this. Yes.
Thank you. That's really helpful because I really didn't get this.
For the description, in order to.
You contextualized it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Hikmet Hocam, would you like to add on this?
Yeah, I'll just say to what Ustad said at the end. I mean, that backbiting is permissible or only just for seeking the truth, for the sake of truth and common benefit.
Mhm.
Then you can just think about that. What you are saying or you are going to say is backbiting or not clearly. And these are the clear example that what you can say or what you cannot say. And this is all I can say is there are some people that clearly doing all kinds of sin. That's what we call fasik, and it's obvious that you need to warn everybody, including your family and your brothers as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, in description as well, that make, for instance, when you are saying that bold, you said also, like, have brother or the person who has only one hand is just going this way, because when he asked, this is something, just a description as well. And maybe that he lost another arm or leg or hand. This is just be careful. That's it. I guess that, and doing business is one of the important part as well. In Quran as well, there's a number of ayat is clearly telling us how to do business and what to do and those type of thing. And then it's just important to warn your brothers, hey, Kolinabi can just do something. Kolinabi, this is just joke though. Don't do
I was,
business with Kolinabi. That's
yeah,
what I was
no,
gonna
I'm
say.
terrible at business. Never ever do business with me.
So
I
you
was
can
gonna
say that as well, but
no,
so I'm
no,
not gonna do business
I
with
would be
you.
the one warning other people not to do business with me.
Okay.
But I was going to give an example, of Nebi kindly explained the third one. I was going to say, well, you can turn it around and say, if someone says who's Hikmet, I'll say it's the guy in Arizona with that beautiful beard, which you didn't have before, and which you now have.
So yeah, that for sake like seeking the truth, and then for the sake of truth, and then common benefits, I think that we're permissible to just tell others that about the other person or people. Yeah, this is gonna be all I can say. Yeah.
So Colin Hocam, did you get your answer that you asked in the beginning? So we were waiting to come to this particular paragraph.
Which the one I got in the beginning? No, I got
Yeah.
the answer about the third paragraph. Nebi Abi gave the answer to that.
Okay.
So that's now cleared up. Thank you.
Okay. I like to add something about this fasık, the description. This is an interesting term that Üstad, as far as I remember, only uses in this particular chapter. Fasık-ı mütecahir. I guess this has a particular position in maybe Sharia in the book, but so we should be. I think I have been talking about this with some of the brothers. So we share things on social media, and sometimes if that post picture, whatever that is, may include ourselves in a position that we are sinning, because that I have seen this sometimes, and this is a very risky thing to do. It's very damaging. So that means in that case, I guess this is my understanding. Maybe you might have other points on this, but if you're sharing a picture that includes yourself in a position that you're sinning openly, this might be very damaging, and it might put you in this particular category. Am I right? Should we be very careful about this? Would you
We
like
shouldn't
to?
divulge our own sins anyway.
Yeah.
So if we
And
do it by depicting them, I
yeah.
think you're right. Sorry, there's a hand raised. I don't know who AW is.
Oh, who is that? Tim, or is that? No,
AW.
AW. So please, who is that? Please go ahead. AW. AW's iPad. Yeah. So do we have to give permission to hear him?
I tried, but I don't know.
It didn't work, right?
There is another brother who also
So
raised.
yeah, there is another raise. Yeah.
Salam.
Walaikum salam. Fatih abi.
Sorry. Nebi Abi said that if we say that somebody is bold just to introduce that he is the one, who that person is looking for. But sometimes, is it up to the person? When, for example, Nebi abi sometimes makes jokes about me and he says he's a bold person because we are together, in Adana, and I'm not offended. But if another person says this, I am offended. So can we say that it is up to the person who is saying this?
That's a good
I think it's
question.
context, isn't it? It's all context. Maybe with close friends you can joke about these things, but if it's someone you don't know so well, I think it's always a bit dangerous unless you definitely have to use it to describe someone. If it's a man with no arms, then you want to say, oh, it's the guy who has no arms. I saw him going there. It was him. Then that's not a problem. But maybe he jokes with his friends. Maybe his friends joke with him about the fact he has no arms. That's up to them, really. If he doesn't mind it, Allah Alam.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. And it's good to hear Fatih Hocam. It has been so long from Adana. I'm also a graduate from Adana, but maybe how many years? Maybe 15 years or something.
Everyone is from Adana. We
Yeah.
realize this.
We're number one.
So we used to have
Yeah, I know. Colin abi, where are you from?
I'm from Adana as well.
Selamünaleyküm.
Aleyküm selam.
And I am also from Adana. My name is Yahya Yıldız. And right now I am in the Texas, the AW, my brother-in-law. That's why it's coming that name. And if you don't mind, I would like to add one of the memory, one of the students of the Ustad, the first students. Unfortunately, that backbiting it's a big sicknesses among the mu'mins, among the Muslims, among the students of the Risale-i Nur. We read, but in the social life, unfortunately, sometimes we do not pay attention. And if you don't mind, I would like to try to say one of the memory about the Ustad's first students. While one of the first students of the Ustad, most of people knows, they called Molla Hamid, was staying with the Ustad in Van, as you know, one of the famous city in the east of the Turkey. One day, a dog came and ate their meat. We called in Turkish kavurma, the brothers knows. Because they left the door of the madrasa, they were staying open. One of the other students, Molla Resul, wanted to punish that dog by setting a trap. When Ustad noticed, he got angry with his students, Molla Resul, and said, hey, Molla Resul, if you were that animal and were hungry and found the door open, wouldn't you eat or not? Besides, you know that meat is haram for you. And also you have a mind. That animal doesn't understand halal from haram. And it doesn't have a mind. And you start added, don't gossip and don't make backbiting about that dog. And he says, after that, Molla Resul says, well, Ustad, you didn't leave anything for us to say, and remain silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Abi. Yeah, that was an interesting story that you added to the discussion. So we are already over time, so let's wrap it up here and finish it. Cezmi abi, would you like to make a dua to finish it?
إن شاء الله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. ربنا لا تخرجنا من الدنيا إلا مع الشهادة والإيمان. Oh Allah, give us strength to digest, to increase our iman, to digest these truth of Quran and apply in our lives. Ameen. والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.
آمين.